I reflect about the part of the unforgotten that stayed with me the most, the silence. The storyteller describes her great-grandfather after the police killed his dogs and after his wife was taken away. She says, "The opposite of a riot is stillness, and that for Inuit people, silence is often protest." That image stood out to me because it challenged my assumptions about trauma and resistance. I often think of suffering as something visible or outspoken, but the film suggests that grief can also exist in what is left unsaid. The idea that someone could lose so much and respond with silence felt incredibly powerful. It made me reflect on how easy it is to overlook pain when it is not expressed in ways that we expect. What affected me most was realizing that colonization did not simply take land or political power. It disrupted relationships. Throughout the film, there is a recurring sense of separation from family members, from cultural practices, and from ways of life that had existed for generations. The storyteller speaks about needing her grandmother, which made me think about how colonial policies created losses that extend far beyond the individuals who directly experienced them. The effects are carried forward through families and communities, shaping how people understand themselves and their place in the world. The film also challenged my tendency to think of colonization as a historical event rather than an ongoing reality. One of the most striking moments is when the granddaughter explains that her friend wanted to die. That moment connects the past and the present in a way that statistics alone cannot. It suggests that the consequences of colonial policies continue to affect Indigenous communities through mental health struggles, intergenerational trauma, and disrupted family connections. The story made me realize that history is not something separate from the present. It continues to influence people's lives every day. The image of the ulu being passed around through generations stood out to me because it represents something that survived despite attempts to erase Indigenous cultures and identities. The final words, "we are whole," felt especially meaningful. Rather than ending with victimhood, the film emphasizes strength, continuity, and survival. I left with a deeper understanding that reconciliation requires more than just learning historical facts. It requires listening to Indigenous voices, recognizing the ongoing impacts of colonization, and acknowledging the resistance of communities that continue to carry their cultures forward. As an adolescent myself, I found it especially powerful that the story is told through the voice of a young person reflecting on the experiences of her grandmother and herself. It reminded me that my generation has inherited the responsibility of understanding the past and recognizing how it continues to shape the present. As a future nurse, this film reinforced the importance of listening to patients' stories and understanding the broader context that shape their health and well-being. Indigenous health cannot be understood solely through symptoms, diagnosis, or statistics. Experiences of intergenerational trauma, cultural disruption, and systemic inequities continue to influence health outcomes today. This film reminded me that providing culturally safe and compassionate care requires listening to the voices, respecting Indigenous ways of knowing, and recognizing the resilience that exists within Indigenous communities. Moving forward, I hope to carry these lessons into my nursing practice and contribute to healthcare that supports health, healing, understanding, and reconciliation.